Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Coffee and Headlines. Here we are. It is Thursday. No, it is Wednesday. What am I talking about? It is Hump Day, Wednesday, June 17. And as you know, we get together every morning at 10:30 in the morning, live from Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, to explore headlines and stories that affect us here in our wonderful town in Mexico's Pacific Riviera. If you're new to these broadcasts, my name is Paco, and I encourage you to write the word new in your comments so that we can give you a proper welcome. Please let us know where you found out about Coffee and Headlines. Let us know where you are located in the world. And last but not least, let us know that you are safe and that you're having a good time. It's always great to see people joining us and saying hello both to me and to Luna, who's sitting down here in her Luna. Oh no, Luna Cam is not set up. Did I disconnect Luna Cam? I disconnected Luna Cam. My apologies. Let me come back to myself. Hold on just a second. Hang in there. There you go. Sorry about that. Luna is not ready to make her close up today. I thought she was, and I forgot to plug her in. Um, we have comments about yesterday's stroll down the Malecon. We'll touch base on that in a little while. And in fact, we're going to take inspiration from that stroll to learn a new Spanish phrase today. You asked for Spanish phrases, and you're going to get Spanish phrases. Again, it's great to see all your hellos and see that you're all joining us this morning. There's a lot of things to cover today. So, what I'm going to do is we're going to talk about our news. As always, there's good news, interesting news, point of view news that will help us get some perspective about what's going on in places near and far in Mexico. And of course, we are going to have some leisurely stuff. Julie Bunker asks, how does my new vacuum cleaner work on the kitty hairs? Oh my God, I had so much fun vacuum cleaning yesterday. It's not even funny. It is exactly what I wanted. It is exactly what I needed. I don't know why I didn't get one sooner, but there you go. Now I am the proud owner of a vacuum cleaner. Luna just kept staring at me, saying, what the fuck is all that noise?" Um, Pardon my French, but that was Luna. Luna gave me a look. Anyhow, let us dive into the news, but not before I answer a quick query that I received yesterday. Yesterday, Barbara, whose last name I'm not going to venture into, asked about scuba diving touring companies that are opening, one opening Monday with restrictions, and the other one opening today. That would have been yesterday. Uh, and yes, we have said on the broadcast that tourist activities aren't authorized yet, and she would like to hear my take on it. My take on it has to do with personal responsibility, as always. Uh, if tour operators are opening today, they are taking the personal responsibility and risking being busted and being closed down. If you, as a consumer, are taking the risk of going into a shop that is not supposed to be open, well, they're not going to put you in jail. But again, um, you are probably taking a risk by endorsing such an activity. And that is my answer. Um, I wish I could speak for other businesses. We know that some businesses are opening when they're not supposed to. We know that other businesses are following guidelines closer than others. Again, it is entirely up to us to choose to endorse businesses where we feel safe or not. If you don't feel safe going to a business, then you have a choice of not going there. You have a choice of reporting that business to the authorities, or you have a choice to simply going on about your life. Again, this is the era or the period of personal responsibility. Let us take a quick look at some headlines. Okay, for starters, we've been reporting that hotels and businesses are starting to reopen. We learned from Contralinea, let me move my microphone a bit. We learned from Contralinea that the large Marina Vallarta hotels are starting to reopen. Velas Resorts is now starting to receive guests. And of course, all the hotels are reopening following stringent guidelines, but it's good to know that one way or another, their activities are reactivating. We also continue to see reports of people going back to the beach. As you know, I went walking out and about uh, yesterday, and I shared a video with you. Um, the paper tells us that a lot of people are coming in. However, the paper does say that for the most part, people are keeping social distance between themselves. I saw some clusters of families enjoying um, the water together. I assume that if you've been uh, in at staying at home with your own family or your own chosen group of friends, and you've created your own cluster, if you choose to go out to the ocean or swimming or doing things with them, and you're keeping close distance, is entirely your choice. A lot of people are doing that. We also learned from the headlines today that the cruise ship industry is starting to cruise again, starting on August 1st. The large uh, lines like Royal Caribbean and Carnival have started to announce, along with Norwegian Cruise Line, that they are resuming their activities. We don't know at this stage if they are going to resume the schedule that they used to have here in Puerto Vallarta, but we do know that if you're itching to get on a cruise ship, you will be able to do it soon. Meanwhile, at City Hall, several business owners that own event halls and activities and such complained at City Hall that they have not been able to open, and City Hall was quick to inform them that it is not up to municipal government to allow businesses to open or close. The guidelines come from the federal government. In our state, the guidelines come from the state government. So if your business type is not allowed to open yet, you simply have to be patient. Unfortunately, there's not much I can say. Um, we also learned that if you've been doing business at the bank, at the HSBC Bank at Las Glorias, this particular branch has been closed down and is in quarantine because two employees, a cashier and one of the bank executives have tested positive for COVID 19. So if you're an HSBC account holder, you may want to find another branch where you can conduct your banking. We also learned that Victor Bernal, an employee of City Hall, not only an employee, he's the director of social development, has tested positive for COVID 19. He is now in quarantine, and he made a statement via telephone that, of course, what we know, which is that the virus is real, and he made a call to the local population to take all the necessary precautions as expected by the authorities. Apparently, our mayor got tested for COVID 19, and he has tested negative as of right now. A few days ago, we were very much talking about the mayor of the municipality of Ixtlahuacán here in Jalisco because of the murder of Giovanni Lopez in by his police um, force. His policemen are now in jail, and now we learn that the mayor's bank accounts have been frozen, along with the bank accounts of the mayor of another town. What was it? I forget what the other town was. But anyhow, um, Mayor Eduardo Cervantes Aguilar, his bank accounts have been seized by the authorities because of his connections or alleged collect connections to organized crime in the state of Jalisco. No further news are available at this point, but it is good to see that the state government is following up on these sad um, situations that took place at the beginning of May. I share the following bit of news just to give you some perspective. This Noticias PV says that a lot of shopping centers and stores have received a large number of complaints from uh, customers because the shopping centers and the stores and people in general are not following safe distancing guidelines. Um, the news item does not specify whether the complaints came from any particular nationality or anything, but if you're wondering that it is possible that it is only Mexicans that are going about carrying on irresponsibly, please know that everybody or many people, many of us are concerned about how others are adopting the new measures. And as I said before, it is entirely up to us to raise our voice if we step into a an establishment where social distancing is not being followed, where people are not wearing face masks. I've made it a point to make mention of this whenever I've gone into stores where I felt my health was threatened. And again, I think we all can and should bring this up to businesses. If these businesses do not follow suit, then there are other businesses that we can choose to shop from. I also have this other news item coming from Jornada, which is a political publication in Mexico City. I like this number. This number tells us that 75% of people that have contracted COVID-19 in Mexico have recovered. And I think this is an important number because whereas it's easy to feel that we're surrounded by doom when we see the number of cases increase, a lot of news outlets fail to report the number of people that are actually recovering. So I think this is important to keep in mind. And yet another bit of news that I think gives us some perspective comes from the state of Nuevo León, north of the country, where the State Commission of Human Rights have received several complaints of a high school principal who flunked 70 students for not having internet. And this is shocking and sad. Of course, this is happening in a different state of Mexico. But I wanted to share this bit of news because I think it should give us a little bit of perspective and a reminder that as we look around us and we feel concerned over those people that don't seem to be following guidelines, it is important to remember that there are people in Mexico, there are people in our state, there are people in our city that don't have access to Netflix, don't have access to internet, don't have access to news, don't have access to television, don't know how to read. So as we feel panicky about people that are not following the news, let us be mindful of the fact that there are people that don't have access to the news in Mexico. Now, the next bit of news is a serious bit of news, but it um, it requires some preparation, I think. It requires some production because this is the funniest bit of news that I have seen. Well, not the funniest because it's not funny. It is sad, it is tragic, it is thought provoking. And now I cannot show it to you because, no, wait, I want to show this to you. Uh, Come on, website. Oh, there you go. Okay, so here we go. We've had to worry about COVID-19. We've had to worry about hurricane season. We know that dengue is around, so it is possible to get COVID dengue, they're calling it. And we know that the flu is around, so you could probably even get a flu COVID dengue combo. But this next headline is just a work of poetic art. I don't know who came up with it. It comes from Business Insider, and it reads like this: flushing the toilet could create a 3-foot vortex of airborne coronavirus poop particles, comma, a new study shows. I tell you, um, I have to show this to you. I shouldn't laugh about this because this is serious stuff. But the visuals, my dear, just thinking about a 3-foot vortex of airborne coronavirus poop coming out of my toilet. I don't know that I needed to know this, but there you go. I've shared it. I think it's absolute poetry, and and I'm going to share it in the show notes as we always do. Before we move into other less poetic news, let me take a quick look at your comments and your questions to see if there's anything important that I can answer for you. Beam, 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 beam. Is this being recorded? Asks Debbie. If you mean this broadcast, Debbie, we record everything, and this stays on Facebook, and it also shows up on YouTube sometime during this afternoon, along with the show notes that we produce for each one of the broadcasts, which include the links to all the news items that we talk about. Bum, 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 bum. Barbara says definitely not going. I'm not sure where you're not going, Barbara, but again, choices are personal. Earl says that his gym is open today, but he cannot go because no one over 60 is allowed. Well, on the one hand, it is unfortunate to be over 60. On the other hand, Earl, it is good to know that health clubs are following guidelines as they should, and they're following them responsibly. I think this is a great time for anybody that is a personal trainer to offer special services for someone like you who is over 60. Um, what is the status on age regulations? I am unclear if they're enforcing that still. Nothing has stopped being enforced, Gayoff, as far as I know. As I was walking yesterday, for example, I walked into Archie's Walk and they took my temperature. I am sure that they had seen me or felt that I was over 60, which I'm not yet. I would have whipped out an ID just to let them know that I'm not over 60. But yes, it is one of those things that is still going on. Boom, beam, ba bum, bum. Okay, seniors, unite. I love it. Um, Claude loves the word cluster. This is true. Yes, a lot of people have been clustering and have been choosing to stay together or to not see many other people. And I think that is something that has worked for some people. Clay asks a long question. Do you know if social distancing is mandatory or just a suggestion on the beach? I'm reading. Clay, I am sure that Puerto Vallarta, as much as any other destination in the world, has a limited resource of police people and people watching out whether people are following guidelines or not. I know that social distancing is mandatory. I don't know that they'll put you in jail for not following it, but I do know that it is mandatory, or at the very least, a very strong suggestion from the government. Social distancing is also a personal choice. Um, is it a suggestion at the beach? Well, I think the beach, the outdoors are a gray area. If you ask me, I will wear my face mask as I get close to other people or other people get close to me. If I'm sitting on a beach chair, if I'm walking out and about and I'm minding my own business and there are no other humans around me, then I will consider taking my face mask off. So if you're seeing people that are not wearing a face mask or not social distancing on the beach, and this is a concern for you, just stay away from them. Let's see. Good show, as always. Question: massage places, are these safe to visit? If so, any recommendations? Good question. Um, I don't know that massage places are open or closed. I know that there are people out there getting massages and giving massages. I know that my friend Crystal Frost has several clients that she sees privately. So, um, are massage places open? I don't know. I really don't know. And again, I don't know that I can recommend someone because I haven't gotten a massage in forever. But it's a really great question. If anybody has any comments about this that wishes to share with Julian, that would be very much appreciated. Um, All it takes is one person to not follow safe procedures and the rest follow like sheep. Um, well, Patty, that is one way to look at things. I can also say that all French people smell because they don't bathe. And that is another way to look at things. I choose not to look at things that way. If you choose to look at things that way, you are certainly entitled to that. Um, did I hear about the use of steroids in the treatment of COVID 19? I did not. Bam, 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 bam. Oh, you guys are being very chatty today. I love it. Um, any more important questions? Good morning, Kim from New Mexico. Thank you very much for joining us. Um, oh, you guys are reacting to the COVID poop news item. Let us keep that to ourselves. Okay, Gay Guide Vallarta tells us that massage places are still closed, but they say that there are personal masseurs. I think if anybody has a recommendation for one and you're willing to share, that would be absolutely awesome. So, with that said, let us move on to less pressing news items, although there are some important things here. And that was not supposed to happen. Oh, that's because I don't have the weather open. Where is my weather? Show. There you go. I'm sorry about that. Today, my connections seem to be a little wonky. The weather today, 82 degrees, feels like 87 because humidity is high. Um, we're going to have a few clouds during the day. Sunset is at 20:45 at 8:45 in case you want to do your selfies. And of course, snarky carrot weather tells us that Antarctica is the only continent without a time zone. It exists outside the time space continuum. Otherwise, our weather forecast tells us that it'll be partly cloudy for the day. Let's go back to our headlines. What some environmentalists have called disastrous, other people are saying we're just trying to clear the river in anticipation of the rain season. But unfortunately, the Rio Pitillal, the Pitillal River, has been cleaned up by construction crews, and a number of trees have been cut down. Needless to say, this is already done. There's not much that we can do about this, but this has made some local environmentalists very, very sad. Um, Unfortunately, I don't know that there is a way to learn more about these decisions when um, they are made. The article that I'm reading says that the Pitillal River has not represented a risk for the past 20 years. It was in 1998 when it went beyond its borders and it created a lot of flooding. But this has not happened in the recent years. Why the government would go out and get rid of so many trees is a mystery to me. I found this interesting article on Wired magazine today about the design and science of patio dining during a pandemic. This will be an interesting read for restaurant owners out there that have access to outdoor areas to offer services. This talks about the do's and don'ts and the trends and so forth and so on. If you want to read it, I want to share that with you. Um, I also want to send a shout out to Christopher Biles of Chachalaca for two reasons. Today is his birthday. Happy birthday, Christopher. And also to bring awareness to the fact that he has been running this GoFundMe account for his staff. And it is important to keep in mind if you're able to support the bar, if you have been a patron of the bar in the past and you want to read more about this, I will leave you with the website address for this fundraiser. Through my friend Luis Tello, I found out on Facebook that Pepe's Tacos, the renowned taco place located in Colonia Cinco de Diciembre, right across the street from the Pemex gas station, has opened a new branch on South Side on Colonia Emiliano Zapata. This is right on Ignacio Vallarta Street, um, uh, around the corner from Basilio Vadillo. Pepe's Tacos is a brand that has been in Puerto Vallarta for many years. So it's good to know that another traditional taco place comes to this very popular neighborhood. I also want to give a shout out to my dear friend Chef Noy Laditam, who used to be the chef at Dakri Dix for many years. She is now back in Thailand, has been living in Thailand for several years, looking after her elderly mother. And I've been in touch with her, and she keeps touch with a lot of people here in Puerto Vallarta. I think folks that have gone to Daiquiri Dix remember her from her very particular way of being a hostess and also running the kitchen and creating these wonderful delights of local and Asian food. Well, Noi is now starting this new page on Facebook, Thailand Taste and Travel with Chef Noi, where she has shown me a few um, videos that she's working on. She wants to start doing videos of cooking and going to marketplaces in her home country. So if you know Noi or have loved her cuisine or her friendship as much as I have, I encourage you to take a look at this new Facebook page that she has opened so you can like it and support her as well. Um, we get this article from the New York Times, How to Be a Socially Distanced Orchestra. Of course, most of us are not orchestra players, but the article talks about how some music publishing companies, the people that sell the music scores, have started compiling lists of works that would be suitable to be performed in concert halls that don't require a lot of social distancing logistics. Again, we may not have access to many orchestras or many of these performance opportunities, but the article does include a nice little playlist of wonderful chamber orchestra works, should you wish to consider that and explore this at your leisure. And the last leisurely news headline that I saw today is How to Create Jackson Pollock Style Paintings Online. Should you happen to be bored at home and you want to create Jackson Pollock style paintings, there's an article that tells us a little bit about who he was, and then it points to a couple of applications online and websites where you can start painting your own Jackson Pollock style paintings in case you've been wanting to do this. Let me take a quick look at your comments as we're moving forward. Let's see. Here is a recommendation for a masseur. This is great. Kathleen, thank you very much. Um, Gail, thank you very much for joining me in the walk yesterday. I still have to talk about the walk yesterday. And yes, we have a little bit of a Spanish lesson coming up our way. Um, Candace went to the beach yesterday and found pieces of sea glass and 87 plastic bottle caps. That is unfortunate. I usually go about picking up things whenever I go to the beach. I try to do my own share of helping the planet as much as I can. Wayne tells us that Aqua Day Spa for men is open. Um, and Clay makes a remark about coward weather. I couldn't tell you which one is the accurate one. Catherine chimes in here. Great happy birthday wishes for our friend Christopher from Chachalaca. Do, 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 do. Praise for Pepe's Tacos. I love their tacos too. Um, Robin talks about temperature things. Again, it's helpful when we can report to one another how things are going. I very much appreciate all these reports that you are sharing. This is wonderful. Um, my comment was not meant to be derogatory in any way. I didn't think your comment was derogatory, and I certainly hope that you. I hope that you don't think my answer was derogatory. Um, Again, when we see other people not following the guidelines, it is unfortunate, but we can't become policemen because we're not. Um, we can only look after our own well being, and that's all that I'm trying to say here. Um, Paul, who just got here 10 days ago, did not get a temperature check, but it is also good to know what's going on. Um, Patty, I'm sorry you did not receive the response that you were expecting. I just don't know how to respond. I get a lot of questions from people that ask me my take on things, and my take on things has to do with the fact that I can choose to take care of myself and my loved ones, and that's all that I can choose to take care of. And if you don't like that, I'm I'm sorry that you don't. Last but not least, I want to comment on the video that I shared yesterday because I looked at it when I came home and it reminded me of an important phrase that you may want to know about, and that phrase is called pulso de maraquero. I am going to explain this, the meaning of this phrase because it is a phrase that we use quite frequently here in Mexico. And I'm going to break it down. The word pulso means pulse. And pulse, we think of pulse as the heartbeat, of course. We think of taking someone's pulse when we do that. Pulse also relates to how steady our hands are here in Mexico. A person that has a good pulse is someone whose hands are not shaky. You expect good pulse from a surgeon, for example. A surgeon who's handling a scalpel, we wouldn't want that person to have shaky hands. And then the word maraquero comes from the word maraca, which is a person that plays maracas. And of course, the phrase pulso de maraquero refers to someone that has a shaky pulse. Pulso de maraquero is not an offensive phrase, although we can use it for banter sometimes. Anybody watching the video that I shared yesterday might argue that I have pulso de maraquero because when I looked at the video, it was so shaky. I didn't mean to produce a video that was so shaky and perhaps a little difficult to watch. But again, it was a learning experience. I was shooting with my iPhone, and I thought that the iPhone would provide better stability. But I have another camera that can do a better job, so I will continue doing these. These walking tours to bring you some clarity as to what's going on and bring you some peace of mind if you're wondering whether you should be out and about or not. I was glad to do the video. If you haven't seen it, I'm going to put the link in our show notes today. And let me take a quick look at your last minute comments. Mihal says that we all have to decide for ourselves. I agree with that. Um, Mark says that some people believe that they're immune. Again, I respect what you're saying, Mark. I don't know what people believe or not. I wouldn't dare to get into other people's head because I'm not a telepath. Um, I insist all we can do is take care of ourselves. And if other people are not taking care of themselves, it is their fate. I mean, unfortunately, their fate has a lot to do with ours. So again, we walk out making personal choices for ourselves every single day. And I think that's what we must do as we move forward. Um, Jazzy Pickle, you guys crack me up. Uh, love the walking tours. Well, there's always more of those coming up. And and that's all I have. That's all I have. We've gotten to the point today in which it's almost time to say goodbye. As always, I am grateful for the opportunity to reach out to you, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to exchange ideas with you. I welcome and appreciate the questions and comments that you give me privately. Sometimes I'm able to answer them, sometimes I'm able to request information from other people. We do what we can to make sure that we maintain our our main goal here at Coffee and Headlines, and our main goal is to create connections between you and between the destination. You can choose to accept those connections whenever the time is right for you, or you can choose to wait to accept those connections um, whenever you can. And that's what we do here at Coffee and Headlines. Again, I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope you stay healthy. I hope you stay happy. I hope you stay productive. I hope you stay positive, and I hope you'll stay in touch. Have a great day.